Hi there, welcome back, and we're going to go back to Ultimate Commanders from Precons today, and it is Kianne, Corrupted Memory, that I'm taking my eye over today. 2 blue and green for a 2/2 legendary creature illusion, but has 2 very interesting abilities. As long as Kianne's power is even, you may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. And as long as Kianne's power is odd, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. Right, okay. And then whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Kianne. Right, so the turn Kianne comes down, you can cast everything that isn't a creature in your hand as though it had flash. Then you go to your step, assuming you haven't drawn any cards from the spells you've been casting. Let's assume that. Go to your upkeep, untap, draw, gets a +1/+1 counter until your next turn all your creatures have been cast so they had flash. Right, okay. Yeah. Anyway, I'd say have some fun with this. I'm going to be honest, love the idea of the card. We're stuck on ideas, and I thought, do you know what's fun? Blue-green always has such a bad rep with all the legends. Let's play as many of them as we can that had a bad rep in the deck. So this is very legend focused, but it's going to be fun. So here we go. Before we go though, I know this is not the right way to build Kianne, I'm very aware of that. There are so many competitive ways of building this where you draw multiple cards, cast multiple creatures, so on and so forth, but I decided to have some fun because, yeah, blue-green Simic has always had a thing about legendary creatures in Commander, and I thought it would be as fun to include as many as we could. So, if you don't like it, I get it, but it's my take on it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play. So, we have ramp to start with Birds of Paradise because, yeah, might as well have 1-drop burden. And then we've got Bristling Bill to chuck around some +1/+1 counters, which is a semi-theme we have in the deck because of Kianne's own abilities. So I figured having some +1/+1 counters stuff kicking around would probably be a good idea. We've got Kianne, Bononder Prodigy to go and find some non-human cards to put into play when we get there and get some extra mana on the go. Lonis makes an appearance to go and get those clues we like, and then hopefully go and nick things from people's libraries. The Goose Mother helps us get those food tokens to keep ourselves alive. We can sack a food, draw a card when we attack with the Goose Mother. Again, more +1/+1 counters, which helps a lot. Thrasios, Triton Hero, extra mana, do the whole scry thing, you get on with it. That's cool. Simone, Quandrix Prodigy is also in. I quite like the idea of using an extra bit of mana every so often to tap this and put a land into play. Yes, it comes in tapped, but it's a nice way of getting rid of some of the lands out of your hand. And then once we get to 4, once we get to 8 mana, paying 4 and drawing 2 cards, well, 8 lands, sorry, paying 4, drawing 2 cards is really good. To help with the land drops, we've got Azusa, Lost But Seeking, who seems to turn up in a lot of Simic decks just to get us there because, you know, who doesn't like having extra lands? Edric, Spymaster of Trest, comes in to help us draw some even more cards. And then Kadoma of the West Tree, because we are going to be chucking around quite a few +1/+1 counters, having this one come in as modified to go and find basics and put them into play tapped, again really helps out. Zavala, Heart of the Wilds, gives us a mana boost. The Shardless Agent lets us cascade into something useful, I hope. Troyan, Gusty Explorer, we have things that cost 5 or more mana, so having a way of getting 2 extra mana and ramping, going from turn 3, or potentially turn 2 if we do Birds of Paradise this turn 2, turn 3 hitting 5 mana cards, not the end of the world, but the loot ability is quite nice for 1 blue as well, so yeah, it works. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, has to come in. Yes, escaping it's a problem, but hey, who cares? Simone, All Questioning, also makes an appearance from Duskmourn at the beginning of your end step. If a land enters the battlefield under your control this turn, you can have a prime number of lands, you get Primo. And don't forget, every time you have a prime number of lands, you can create Primo and get a bigger Primo. It's still a weird card, but hey, it happens. Arasta of the Endless Web, I'm starting to enjoy this. There's a lot of flying decks around at the moment, so we might as well get some spider tokens. Inga and Eska comes back in from wherever it was, the war set, can't remember. Creatures you control have vigilance and can tap for mana to spend, then they can use that mana to cast creature spells. And whenever you cast a creature spell of 3 or more mana from creatures was spent to cast, to draw a card. And it's a 4/4 mana. I'll cope with that. Anyway, Zoriel, Voice of Saphir, also makes an appearance on the beginning of your upkeep on your turn. You get turn a land into a bird. where X is the number of cards in our hand, and then whenever a land creature deals damage, we draw a card. Yeah, fine, okay. Kellen pops in from Murder of Karloff Manors, do a bit of investigation, play an additional land, and then, in theory, get this in flying in the air when you cast them out and blow up all those annoying artifacts and enchantments that people, well, blow up the artifacts that are annoying us that people control. I feel it doesn't do enchantments, but artifacts are good enough. Soul Rings, looking at you. Mana Vaults, looking at you. Can't say Mana Crypt anymore, can we? Anyway, Kydel, Chosen of Crofts, extra colourless mana for the cards we're drawing, so yep, I expect we'll be doing some drawing. Rashmi, Eternity's Crafter, lets us draw a card or play the top spell of our library for free, depending on its mana cost. Shakizima of 1,000 Faces lets us copy something we want to copy. I have tested this and copied Kianne, and it becomes quite fun because basically I had them on alternate powers so I could cast everything with flash whenever I wanted to, which is actually a lot of fun. Toothy, Imaginary Friend, whenever we draw a card we get a +1/+1 counter on it, and when Toothy leaves the battlefield we draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it. That's cool. Toski lets us do the whole card draw all the time. Here comes some of the +1/+1 counter stuff with Defiler and Vigour, so we can get +1 whenever you cast a green permanent spell, you get put +1/+1 on each creature we control. OJ Kaslam, because I'm playing the green deck and I like the idea of getting creature on land for free when this hits. Railway Brawler is just silly. Yeah. Outlaws of Thunder Junction has a lot to answer for, and this is one of the cards I think it has to answer for. Reach, Trample, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is its power. Okay. Anyway, Tatiova, Benthic Druidin, land draw, life gain, card draw and life gain. Body Pal Clear Cutter, because I just like having Boo kicking around basically. Kadoma of the East Tree lets us drop extra bits in when we have something that costs less for the one we just cast, so that's cool. Prime Speaker Zagina, +1/+1 counters on each and gets X +1/+1 counters where the greatest power of creatures we control is, and then we get to draw cards equal to its power. Nice. Surik and Goreclaw do the whole +1/+1 counter trick and give everything haste, which is even better. Tomorrow, Azuma's Familiar. I like this. It gets really complicated on MTGO because you do have a lot of triggers, I'm aware of that. But you do always get to filter your cards, so you can always get the best card out of the top 3 each time, so I really do enjoy it. And I don't think we see as much of it in blue decks as we should do, but personal opinion. Anyway, Von Click's Monstrous Raider, double up those +1/+1 counters we're getting and half everything else anyone else is getting. And Kagoma, Cosmos Serpent, the most annoying blue-green creature I think has been printed from my point of view for a while, because as long as you get it in play and keep it alive for one turn, you can basically make it indestructible every turn. And the only way to get rid of it is exiling it, so I'm glad it's on my side of the board basically. Spells, Rift control the board, Ramp Law, Growth, 3 visits, Cultivate, Ranger's Path, Inspiring Claim, and Sky Shroud Claim, and then a little bit of card draw with Inspiring Refrain. Nothing too fancy. Because we are playing so many legends in the deck, I have gone with Mox Amber for this deck, and then we have Tantalite and Soul Talisman. Elixir of Immortality appears, just to shuffle everything back in, as I say every time. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, the green and blue medallions, and then Talisman and Curiosity for a bit more ramp. Then we have some more interesting artifacts, which you don't usually see. Because I'm playing so many legends, I figured Cadona's banner is quite useful in this deck. We can equip it to something, equip it to Kianne if you want to, and yeah, that pumps up all our creatures again. Pyre of Heroes is lovely, just to bring it in and sacrifice something off to go and get something else we need. It may be we get rid of some of the legendary creatures, or you can sacrifice off OJ Kaslam if you want to go and get, say, Kadoma East Tree, because you can always flip Koja back over again once you've got 10 or more permanents. So yeah, there's all sorts of tricks you can do with it, and it's a fun card that I haven't played for a while. Heroes Podium makes perfect sense. Again, a load of legendary creatures in the deck. It gets each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other legendary creature you control. That's pretty cool. Does mean Kianne gets a bit funny depending on your legendary creatures because of the power and toughness fluctuations, but it's interesting. Chinny the Inner Sun, just so we can get something discovered at the end of each turn. Most of everything we have is 5 or less. We only have, from Bonnie Powell Cutter as permanents really that don't cost that, so yeah, we'll have a bit of fun. The Immortal Sun, there seems to be a lot of planeswalkers kicking around at the moment, so pump our creatures up, make our spells cost less, shut down the planeswalkers, hence why there's no planeswalkers in the deck. And then of course the Great Hinge to help out with the +1/+1 counter stuff, a little bit of life gain and mana ramp. Should be able to get the set pretty quickly with the speed at which we can build up Kianne and some of the other creatures. Enchantments, Hardened Scales, because want to get an extra +1/+1 counter wherever I can. Say we're branching Evolution. Growing Rites of Itlimoc help us do the whole ramp up and get there and turn into a Fake Gaze Cradle. Bow and Nylea, sorry, we can move some +1/+1. Add extra +1/+1 counters, deal some damage, gain some life, or put things on the bottom of our library. I do like the ability to add extra +1/+1 counters, something like Kianne occasionally gets instant speed, just to maybe help us cast something that we need to cast at that stage, so bear that in mind. Just be careful if you've got Hardened Scales kicking around and deal with the Evolution, that's all. It does make it a little bit tricky sometimes. Hadana's Climb just chucks around +1/+1 counters, then we get to flip it and make things really big and really painful in the air with the Winged Temple of Alcazar. Tribute to the World Tree, yep. This comes into, with this in play and Kianne coming into play, it comes in as a 3/3, so all our creatures get flashed to start with. And then the Bident Assassin to help us draw cards when creatures we control deal combat damage. Now, we are a little bit light on lands, not going to argue that. When you're playing 34, 5 which are forests, 4 islands, but we've got all the blue-green lands you would expect to have in here, Broker's Hideout to go and find things, Miroko, Centre of the Sea to help us draw extras. We've got Quandrix Campus, we can do some scrying if we need to. We can find lands. I think 34's alright. The testing I've done seems to say it's alright. I am umming and umming, and I'll be completely honest, over the power of the heroes in here to take this out and make that an extra island, so we're playing 5 and 5. That's the only one I can change at the moment, I think. But I think 34's okay. With the ramp we have, it should be okay. And that is it. That is my take on Kianne, Corrupted Memory. I hope you've enjoyed it. If there's anything I've missed out, I know people who say, oh, you haven't put any card draw spells in. I know that. I'm trying to play a bit more sneakily than that. You can do. I think though this is me having a little bit of fun with Kianne and Legends. I will probably come back to Kianne at some stage and do a slightly more focused version of her, but I want to have some fun. Had a lot of complicated decks over the last week and a half, so yeah, bit of fun with Kianne today. And tomorrow's deck, even more simplified, because I just want something simple to finish the end week off with. But for now, anything you think should be included, let me know down below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you know when the videos come up. Come and give me a follow over on Twitch, there's links for everything down below. I really appreciate everyone who comes and becomes a follower on Twitch and who becomes a subscriber. There is no compulsion for anyone to do anything beyond that, just help me get my numbers up. That's all I ask for, just help me where you can. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon with the next video. Have a great day. Bye.